Whenever I'm working on a design research project, a paper, or designing a service or a system, I know I'm up against great challenges because these are highly complex endeavors. Visualization can be really helpful in figuring out the parts that go into the project. Visualization is a process I use not only for putting out all the pieces to something that's complex, but learning what pieces I might be missing. So let me show you how this process works, and I hope it will help your own process when planning highly complex endeavors. So I'm going to use an example of, I don't know, travel to Mars. Let's say we're putting together a recreational travel to Mars service. Okay, so let me go to my whiteboard, which in this case is a Photoshop document. And travel to Mars, let's talk about the knowns. So for sure, I know Earth is going to be a concern. So let's just map out Earth. We've got that written there, so a little bit of that. And then I know Mars is going to be a factor. So let's just Mars. And then space, which is the place between, is also a factor too. You'll notice in this visualization, I'm starting out with the parts I know and the biggest parts. Mars, Earth, space. Those are knowns and they're pretty big in this problem. One thing I also know about space is there's going to be time. That sounds very Einstein of me. But time is going to be involved in traveling from Earth to Mars. So no matter what, I'm going to have to account for time. I can't ignore that. I also know that in order to get to Mars, unfortunately, it's not Star Trek, so I can't just beam there. I'm going to have some kind of rocket or some kind of vehicle to get me there. So I've got my recreational vehicle to get to Mars. What other knowns do we have? While we're on Earth, we know that we're going to have some kind of launch platform and something like that to set up the rocket and get it there. And then I know at Mars, I'm going to have to arrive. So I need to have some place to arrive. So I need on Mars some kind of location. I'm going to have to figure that out. There's my location thing. And I'm going to need to know a lot of mapping to figure out where to land on Mars. So I need to know that. Over here on Earth, I'm going to have some kind of launch platform, and I'm going to have a rocket that's on that, and then I'm going to also have like something to roll the rocket out onto the platform. So that's like transporting it and all that stuff. Here on the Earth side, in order to start this endeavor, in order to make it, there's a lot of people involved. So let's talk about the people. We will need scientists who are going to be the people who are creating the program, and engineers. So I'm going to do scientists, I'm going to do engineers. I'm going to need staff that does various functions. Man, now I'm realizing I don't know a ton about launching someone to Mars and recreational travel to Mars. There's probably some stuff I need to know. I'll just jot down some people, and this is an area I need to research some more. And so I need some staff. I will probably need a pilot and other people to operate the vehicle. There's all that involved. Let's see. Those scientists and engineers probably have to start out like way early developing the technology to do this. So I'm going to create a calendar, and time is involved here for developing the rocket itself and all the parts that go into that. So time for the scientists to create this. What else? Oh gosh, this stuff is not free. So I have to finance this somehow. So what's on the financing side? Well, I've got to do, government finances that, and then maybe taxes go into that, and taxes come from the people who pay those taxes. Let's say this is a government-funded thing and not a private endeavor, so there's not a corporation involved, but all these people are taxpayers. Gosh, how would these taxpayers feel about funding a program that only a few people got to go on? There may be some invisible things that may be a concern. There may be a little bit of anger here that I need to look into. So I need to do some research on attitudes. So I've got attitudes of all these people that may be a problem. That's an angry person, by the way. So I've got time and the scientists and the development that goes into making it. I've got the funding and all the stuff that goes into that. I've got the actual launch mechanisms. With the rocket, I mean, what's going to go on the rocket? If we're going to land there, we probably need fuel and equipment and other things like that. So I would have some kind of, fuel container here. I'm going to have supplies and equipment. I probably need some kind of food. I mean, we can't go there and not have food. So I've got my banana here. And you see that as I'm visualizing this, just in my first pass, I am coming up with parts of the problem or parts of the product traveling to Mars that I didn't think about before. I'm working sequentially. I put one idea down and then I think, well, okay, what's involved in that? I got to fund it. Well, who pays for it? How do they pay for it? When do they pay for it? How do they feel about paying for it? And I'm drawing each of these as a box or a person or a square, whatever it is, but it puts the pieces into the visualization. Visualization is a process where you start to put the pieces onto a board so you might deal with them when you're doing the project itself. I find that with visualization, it does a few things. It expands your understanding of all the parts because you're putting them all in and drawing them in and seeing how they relate. It also focuses you on areas that you really need to research. You're like, oh, I don't know exactly what personnel go into creating a launch program to get someone to Mars. And then it starts to show you relationships. Now we see that Earth is related to Mars by space and by time. If I design something to to put a service in place, I'm going to have to account for time, like time to travel. And time to travel to Mars means I need food. And if, I don't know, it takes like 6 months to get to Mars, then I'm actually going to need lots of food. I'm going to need like bananas times 600 or whatever to get however many people there. So when you visualize your idea, do it in a sequential manner. Start out with the big things. Put them into play on your whiteboard or on your screen like this or in your sketchbook. Get them out there. Then start to identify the things that are related to those big things. Put them into groups and keep going. It's kind of like listing, how you're listing an idea and doing a mind map, but this is making those parts visual. And it's showing the parts, not just the ideas. And the hope is you'll see how they relate. You'll see what you know and what you don't know. And it will add some order to your plan as you're planning out a project, as you're designing a service, or you're writing a paper. In the case of a paper, I would then need to recognize, well, I need to write about Earth and some of the equipment. I need to write about the people that support it. I need to write about the finances. I need to write about the actual travel stuff as far as the rocket and the food and that stuff that goes into it. And I need to write about Mars. So I make sure my paper is addressing the place we're going and the complexity of the endeavor. When you start out visually like this, you may turn the visualization into an outline, and then that outline becomes headings, and that headings becomes a clearer paper that you can refer back to the visualization and then start to write and research something that's concise and complete based on your initial endeavor of just drawing things down. Well, I hope that helps you apply visualization to your paper, your project, or any other endeavor. I find, again, getting it all out there in a visual way helps me to find where to go, what I don't know, and how to proceed next.